In this video, I will explain configuring the Azure Key Vault and configuring the API health check for the .NET Core 5 Web APIs, especially for the microservices architecture. These are really important configurations. And this is part of the Clean Architecture series. Prior to this, I have covered a couple of series. In case if you have missed that, please follow the prior to these videos so that you don't miss what was done before this. So I created another video on the API configuration, talking about how to use the auto mapper in the .NET Core 5 Web API, and also added some of the best practices in the API, like creating a separate file for the API constants, app settings, and also added the logging using the nlog. I will also expand this for the Azure App Service logs in the next videos. Also created the service extension class for following the best practices, like so that we are not expanding all our code in one file in the startup.cs. So I created a config cors, configure truant validations. These are going to be used for the request. I will be talking more on this, but I just added the template so that I can add more code into the particular function. Configure dependency injection is also discussed. Configure Swagger and adding some of the description in the API, for example, and also making sure that all the URLs displayed on the API, the Swagger, are lowercase, and then exception handling, how to add the exceptions locally, also how to add the exceptions on the server. And we also discussed about the versioning along with the Swagger. So let me quickly show you what is the service. So if I run the code, what was done part of the video 3, I should be able to run the let me go back. So this is the service description I was talking about. I added one API endpoint just for running the code and adding the source code. So this returns the response. Now, part of this video, I will be talking about the Azure Key Vault and also the health check. So let's add the code for Azure Key Vault and health check. So I'll start with the Azure Key Vault. So let me close the PowerPoint. So in order to add the Azure Key Vault, I have already created the Key Vault cache in the previous session. So let me add some code here, and which is going to be used for the Azure Key Vault. So the code I have already written, and I just copy paste here so that we can save some time and talk about what is exactly required part of the Azure Key Vault configuration. Now we need these NuGet packages for configuring the Azure Key Vault. The first one is Azure extension ASP.NET Core configure secrets, Azure identity, Key Vault secret, Key Vault, and Key Vault app authentication. So let's add one by one by using the Visual Studio help support. So here I'm installing the package Microsoft Azure Key Vault. So let's install that. And the next NuGet package I'm going to install through the Visual Studio helper is install package app authentication. So I click on find and install. So that's going to, the other way to add is you can right click and manage NuGet packages and type the required NuGet package. But this is the easiest way for me to quickly start. So I added the secret, and then let me add the identity NuGet package. And then finally, I'm going to add the secrets one. So let's take, these are local keys. Now let's quickly save this and see what is added in the project references. Take a look at what are the NuGet packages added. Azure extension ASP.NET Core, configuration secrets, identity secrets, key vault secrets. All these NuGet packages are added. Now let me walk through the code. What is the purpose of this code? This code basically reads the connect to the key vault. So I'm going to hook this method in the program.cs so that when the program starts, it calls the get Azure key vault method and connect to the Azure key vault. And then here I have to pass the key vault name, and this is my URL. So I will be replacing the key vault name here. And using the default Azure credentials, I will talk about the different methods we can use to connect to the Azure key vault, and then creating the instance of the client for connecting to the Azure key vault. So I got this piece of code when I Googled it. This basically cache all the keys so that it won't connect to the Azure key vault every time you run the application. So this is going to connect to the Azure key vault for the first time, get all the keys and store it in the cache those in a static. I've used the static dictionary to store all these information so that we are not connecting to Azure key vault every single time. So now I have another class for getting the secrets. So I'm going to, for example, if I want to connect to the database, so I will say feedback DB connection string. So this is going to get the feedback connection string, and also created I have a separate keys for each key vault key. So those are going to be in the API constant. So let me first create the keys for these files. So since I already have the API constants, I'm going to add those two keys so that I won't get these errors. Now I added those keys already, and these are my key vault keys. I'm going to assign the database connection string, one for the database, one for the storage account. So I have created two keys for storing the data. So let me make sure the application is running. So that's the step one. Added the key vault cache file and added two keys as part of this. So instead of adding these two keys in the same class, so let me create a new class for the key vault keys and store those separately instead of mixing them. I don't need here. I will also correct the key vault cache file using the key vault keys, so that if I have like 10 plus key vault keys, so those are going to be managed separately. So I have separated the constants so that I don't mix with the other files. Now I'm going to add the keys inside the appsetting.json file. So the keys I need is, one is the key vault name, and second one, so I already have the key vault name. So let me name it as aka lab key vault. If I'm creating for demo or dev, so let me make it dev. So this is this key vault service. This is Azure key vault service I'm going to create for the development environment. Let me also add some key for storage secrets. So this will be replaced with key vault. Now I also need the database connection string. This is my database connection string. So I will just say this is going to be replaced with the key vault service. So I have key vault name configured. I'm going to create the key vault Azure key vault service with the same name. And this is my connection string. This will be replaced runtime when the program runs on the Azure. And this will be replaced same as the connection string whenever we are trying to use the storage account. So these are my keys. Let me also include the same in the development. So I have the key vault service here. So in the development, I might be using the same key vault service. So I've also added the bypass key vault equal to true. So I'm going to explain why I'm using this. Sometimes locally, if you are having trouble to connect to the key vault, so probably you can bypass and use the actual connection string. The database connection string locally, we can bypass the key vault one. So whenever I bypass, I'm going to use this one. Otherwise, I'm going to use bypass equal to true. I will be using this. Otherwise, I will be using the key vault service database connection string. So I will add that. Let me finish with the app settings.json file with the connection string, key vault name, and the same for the development environment. So this is all I need for the app setting.json file. Now I'll go and add the configuration in the program.cs so that I will be able to call the key vault cache method, get Azure key vault secrets method. Program.cs, I need to make that call here. So let me quickly modify this method. So what I'm doing here is get Azure secrets, Azure key vault secrets. So that's the method I'm calling here. The difference here is I'm reading the app settings, and then if app settings says bypass, then it will skip. Otherwise, it read from the key vault. So that's the purpose of the Azure key vault. So I will be calling this method only if the bypass is false. If the bypass is true, I will bypass the Azure key vault and use the local secrets which are configured in the appsetting.json file or appsetting.development.json file. So this is how we will be calling the Azure key vault. Now let me go and actually consume the key vault in the dependency injection. So this is the place I am going to have the database connection string reading. So I'll just replace some code for database connection string. So let me comment the existing one and add this code. So this is not required. So what I'm going to do is read the app settings from the appsetting.json file, check to see if the bypass key vault is true. If it is true, then just get the database connection strings from the appsetting.json file, just like we get it normally. Otherwise, get this from the Azure Key Vault. So there is a separate class get secrets and get the Azure Key Vault value from here. And this is going to get the cached secret value from the Azure Key Vault service. Now then I'm storing it in a variable. So this variable will be either replaced from the JSON file or from the Key Vault, and then finally connect to the database. So let me also quickly create a database so that we'll be able to connect to here. So I'm going to create a database called feedback, and then so that I'll be able to make a connection to this database. So this is my connection string. So the connection string I have pasted here. This is my connection string to the database. So I'm using the integrated security, but imagine in your real scenario, you'll be having the username and the password. So that's what we don't want to expose in the appsetting.json file, rather read it from the Azure Key Vault. So I'll not be talking much theory here. I just focus on how to implement the Azure Key Vault. Now I'm able to consume the Azure Key Vault, so that coding part is done. Let me make sure what we have done so far. So added the two keys. One is for the database connection string, and other one is the storage account. So I just for the sample, I created a storage account. I will not be actually using it. Just like you are using the database connection strings, you will also be reading the storage secrets from the Key Vault. So just another example here. Now in the appsetting JSON file in the development, I have given the Key Vault name, and bypass I said true, so that I can use it locally. So let me call it as bypass false so that I can connect to the Azure Key Vault for testing. Then I have the connection string. So this is not going to be in use for the development. When I use this for the bypass, this is going to be in use. And the same thing, I will be having the storage account key. So this is for the actual server. This JSON file will be used in the actual server. Now in the dependency injection, I have added this code for reading the database connection string from the Azure Key Vault, and my project file has required dependencies. The Key Vault cache file takes care of reading the keys from the Key Vault and also cache it and expose whenever it is required. And in the program.cs, I have connected to the Azure Key Vault on the startup, depending on the bypass flag, and read the keys from the Key Vault. Looks like there is an error here. Let me quickly look into that. So let me compile the code to make sure this is still working. So there is an error, so I need a configuration here. So let me pass the config, build it. So the build succeeded. Obviously, this code will not work because we have not connected to the Azure Key Vault, and on the program.cs, I'm trying to connect to the Azure Key Vault. So I would expect to throw the error. We tried 4 times, so it is trying to connect to the Azure Key Vault, and no such Azure Key Vault exists. So this does not exist yet. So we are getting this error. So let's go and connect to the Azure and create the Azure Key Vault service and add keys and give enough permissions so that we can connect to the Azure Key Vault. So in the next step, I will be creating the Azure Key Vault service. I will name it as the different name. So I already created one Azure Key Vault service, and I will also walk through required steps, and we'll do the same steps again with the new service. So step one, we need to create the Azure Key Vault service in the Azure. Step two, add keys to that Key Vault service, and then read the keys from the Key Vault service is something we already written in the API. And we also using the default credentials. I will also explain how to use the client credential while connecting to the Azure Key Vault locally from the Visual Studio. So once the other step we need to do is we need to create the Azure AD app for providing access to the Azure Key Vault, and then we need to add permissions to the Azure AD app to get access to the Azure Key Vault so that this app can use the connecting to the Azure Key Vault by accessing through the client ID and client secret. So let's go and I will explain first what are the required steps for Azure Key Vault in the Azure portal. So first we need to create a Azure Key Vault service. So for example, this is the Azure Key Vault service I created already. And then step two, add secrets like a connection string or storage account or any of the client secrets related to the API need to be added here. And then next step is create Azure Active Directory, register an app in the Azure Active Directory, get the client ID and secret. Also create a secret for connecting from the Visual Studio. And then next one is providing access to this Azure App Service in the Azure Key Vault. So these are the different steps I'm going to perform. Let's quickly create a new Azure service, Azure Key Vault service. So easy way to search is the Azure Key Vault. So I'll go to the Azure Key Vault and say create new. I'm going to use the new resource group for this. I will call it as AK Lab. Resource group for development, and then I'm going to give a name AK Lab Key Vault for the development. So this will be in West US, and I'm going to select the standard for the demo and then create the Azure Key Vault. So this is the information. Now it's creating the Azure Key Vault service in the Azure. So prior to this, make sure that you already have the Azure account. In case if you are new to the Azure and you don't have the Azure Key Vault, Azure service, Azure credentials, so you can. I have created another video how to get create a new login for the Azure portal for free. Only the caveat is you need to make sure that you need a credit card or the debit card for creating the Azure Key Vault account. So the Azure credentials. So now the Azure Key Vault service is created. Now let me add the secrets. So click on secrets, add. I'm going to add these secrets which are added as part of the service. So this is my key. So make sure that this key is unique across the Azure Key Vault. So that's why I'm giving the service name. You can prefix to the service name and then purpose of the connection string. And the value I'm going to keep for the database connection string is this. So once you save that key, you will not be able to read the value. So make sure that you are entering the right information here. So let me also go and create the second key for the storage account. So I'll just say test. I will just for the demo purpose, I'm creating two keys. So this is the step one, create the service, add the keys. And in the next step, I'm going to create the app, register the app in the Azure Active Directory. So let me go to Azure Active Directory and click on the add register and new register. I'm going to keep a name. So I'll say Key Vault connector. I already have the connector with the similar name, so probably I can give a unique name. So Key Vault connector. The purpose of this app is to make sure, the purpose of this app is to connect to the Azure Key Vault and get the secrets. So I will use the default option here and then just register the connector, register the application, and then get these information, your application ID, the client ID, and tenant ID. So these are going to be useful. I'll just note it down, the application ID and also the tenant ID. Now, next step is go to the API permissions. So by default, this has only the read permission. So without that, we will get the errors. So I will add the permission, but I actually wanted to show the actual error we get while connecting to the Key Vault from the program. So since I've already created the Azure Key Vault, added the secrets, now I'll try to read the Key Vault keys from the program and see what kind of errors I get. And so that based on those errors, I'm going to give a permission. So let's run the program now. When I run the program as part of the program.cs, this will try to connect to the secret. And then as part of the dependency injection, it will try to get read the keys from the Key Vault. So let's first see if it is connecting to the Key Vault and see if we are getting any error. Then we'll try to address as and when we get the errors. So this is trying to connect to the Key Vault. Now I see I get the error saying access denied to first party services. So that means the access is not provided to connect to the Key Vault. So first of all, I'll try to break the Key Vault name and see what kind of errors we get in case the Key Vault name is incorrect. I purposely giving a wrong name here to see what error we get while connecting to the Key Vault, so that we know all these kind of errors when you're doing for the first time, you will definitely have to experience these and fix as and when you get an error. So there are 4 attempts happening connecting to the Azure Key Vault, and it says that it's clearly say that the aklab-kv-dev1 is not exist. So if you get this error, that means the Key Vault service name is incorrect. So, and now Key Vault's name is correct, but we are getting the error. Sorry, this one I will close it. So this is the error we were getting now. It says that the access denied, and we need to provide access to the service. So I got different errors. I'm going to show all these errors. Now let's apply the required permissions. First of all, I'm not started using the connector yet. I'm still using the default one. So if I go to the Key Vault cache, here it says the default Azure credentials. That means I'm trying to connect using the Visual Studio, whatever account I have connected using the Visual Studio. So in the Visual Studio, select tools and options in the Azure Service Authentication. So you have to connect to the Azure portal from Azure Visual Studio with request. So this is the email ID. This is my account I'm using. I've already connected through the Visual Studio. So it's trying to use this default account, and that's where we are getting the access denied. So I have to go to the Azure Key Vault and access policy. I need to provide required access to the Azure Key Vault service. So I already have by default, my name is already here, but still I'm getting the Azure access denied error. So that is because of Visual Studio. I noticed that sometimes, even though if you use the default Azure credentials, you will be getting that kind of error. So the alternate option is, that's why I'm using the bypass Key Vault, so that if you run into these issues locally, you will have to bypass the Key Vault and continue reading from the appsetting.json file. But on the server, this will definitely work. I will have tested this already. So if you are hosting this app service in the Azure portal, so you have to enable the managed identity, give the permission to the service in the Key Vault, so that the default Azure credentials will work as expected. But locally also, we can make it work by changing this to client credentials rather than using the default credentials. So let me quickly make that change and show you how the client credentials flow will work. So I'll have to change this to client secret credentials. In order to make the client secret working, I have to pass the tenant ID, app ID, and the secret. So this is the information we stored here. This is the app ID. Make sure I copy, paste correct one. And this is my tenant ID. And then I need the secret. So in order to get the secret, I have to create a secret in the connector. I created the app, registered an app. So I need to click on client secret. So this is my Key Vault connector key secret. So when we create, by default, it gives the value. Make sure that we save that value. Once we come out of this, you'll not be able to read this. So it's important to save this. This is not required anyway. I'll copy paste here. So if I go to authentication and come back to secret, okay, I can still see, but I think sometimes it won't allow to see. Let's go back, secrets. Okay, so earlier I was not able to see. That's fine. Now I have the secret. Let me copy that client secret in the code. And then I need to pass these parameters part of the class so that I can connect to this. Now I'm passing the tenant ID, application ID, and the secret. I'm using the client credential secret. I will still get an error because the connector doesn't have the API permissions. I just wanted to test this. So when I run the application with the client secret credentials, I will be still getting the error. Let's prove that. So this time it says that the user group or application is do not have secret list permissions in the Key Vault. So this is the error I want to show, make sure that we experience these kind of issues and then fix those issues. So if you get that error, click on API permission and then add permission. So I'm going to give the Key Vault service permissions here. Click on Key Vault. So this is a permission list right now. This is meant for the Key Vault. So I'm going to give the full permissions right now for this app. And let's see if I can get the connection. I think I'm still going to get an error. Let's see. Yep. So I will still get an error here because giving the permission to API here is one part of it. And the second one, go to the Key Vault service and access policy. And we need to add new access policy for getting the keys and secrets. Let me keep the get and list. So I don't want to provide the other permissions. But for now, I will, let me keep the default one. Messed up. So let me come back again. Go to access policy, create new access policy. Select this. I will leave the default one for now, but I will try to remove when access is working. So I have to provide access to the Key Vault, the API, Key Vault API connector, Key Vault connector. I'm going to select the Key Vault connector and provide access to all these permissions for keys, these permissions for the secrets, and these many permissions for the certificate permission. So I'm going to add that. Now, since I have added the connector and also connecting through those connector credentials, so I'm sure this time it should work without saying the permission issue. It still says that they do not have permission. Let me see what else is missing here. So let's see, I refresh. And also in the vault. So these are my secrets. These are my, okay, what happened? So I think I didn't save this when I created the access policy. So that's why I'm getting that error again. Let me add that back. So I just added it, but I didn't save it here. So make sure that this button is clicked. Now I see that is added. Let me try it again. It is always good to experience all these kind of issues and make sure that we Google it and get the right information. Okay, so this time it is connected now. Let me read it from the Key Vault. Now bypass is false. That means I'm getting the key from the Key Vault. So let me go to the Key Vault, get the secret, and my key name is feedback API DB connection string. And now it is taking some time because it has to connect to the key vault and get the key before storing it in the static variable. So this is my key vault key and adding it into the dictionary and then reading that passing back. So now that's how you will be getting the key vault key from the Azure Key Vault service. Okay, so let me wrap up before moving into the next topic, which is the API health check. What we have done as part of the Key Vault is first added the code, added the keys, and also organized the code, added the dependency injection for connecting to the Key Vault and calling the Key Vaults from the dependency injection for the connection string. Same thing you can do for reading the storage account or any of the secrets wherever you require, because it's going to save it in the config file and you can read it any part of the API. So that's the coding part of the Key Vault. And we also created the Azure Key Vault service, added the keys, secrets here, and then created the registered the app in the Azure Active Directory and provided, created the secret. This is only used for local development. This is not required actually on the server. You see, this is now encrypted, so you cannot get the password anymore. So you created the certificate, copied here, and then you also gave enough permissions to this app to read the Key Vault. On top of that, we also have to give the access policy here. So you can have two options here. Either you can use the RBAC or the Key Vault access policy. So I've given access to this app registered in the Active Directory so that this app can read the Key Vault. So as I mentioned, in the locally, I have Key Vault bypass option also, so that if you run into issues, you can bypass. But on the server, we have to make sure that we are using the Key Vault and Key Vault with the not the client credential flow, because these client credentials are still exposed in the code. So we don't want to do that for the production code. So we want to use the default one. This is only for the demo purpose. I've explained you can refactor this code. It's okay to have this code for the locally, but not for the server. So in the server, we are not going to have any client credentials in the code. So we have to enable the managed identity in the Azure App Service, and then give the managed identities the service principal name in the Key Vault, just like we are giving access to this registered app in the Key Vault to get the Key Vault. So we'll still use the default one and then use the managed identity, enable the managed identity in the app service, and provide access to that service in the Azure Key Vault, so that when this app is running in the Azure service, we'll be able to still connect to the Azure Key Vault. So that's all we have to discuss. I have to discuss in the Azure Key Vault, and then let's start moving into the next topic, which is the API health check. So before moving into the next topic, I would like to commit this code since it's working, and I would with the Azure API health check. So let me give Azure Key Vault connection changes. So I will refactor this code to not having here for the production code as discussed. So also I was referring a couple of articles for the Key Vault. These are help for making this video. So I'm not using the certificate, all this, because as I mentioned, those client credentials are only for the local running, but on the server, we are going to use the default with the Azure managed identity. So the same steps I have followed here, a little bit different. and I also getting a couple of errors like request failed exception. What needs to be done? So there is no perfect way to do it, but you have to see trial and error options like creating the secret here. So this helped me to fix some of the issues. And the same thing, this article also helpful. What are the different types of authentication supported in the Azure Key Vault? So let's begin with the health check topic. So in the health check, we'll be discussing first of all, we need to add the required NuGet packages for the API health check. And I'm going to add Azure SQL health check, remote API health check, in case if your API is talking to any external services, to make sure that you will also be connecting to that like every 10 minutes or every 1 hour to make sure that the API is still healthy with all the endpoint checks. And you can also add the memory check. And in case if you have any URL related checks, you can add it by using the add URI group. And then I'm also going to add the health check UI to actually see the good UI look and feel for the API health check. So for API health check, I was actually referring one of the articles. So let me bring that article. So this is one of them I found useful to start. So this is the UI look and feel. So your service URL, you can configure the URL the way you want. So this is what I want to see every 15 minutes. My API is connecting to the health check and then checking all the endpoints, including the databases or the secrets, or everything working as expected. So there are so many endpoints you might be using in the API. For example, you can check the health of your SQL server. You might be definitely connecting to the backend database. And you can also, if you are using any of these, for example, for Redis cache, you definitely want to check the Redis cache is working as expected. Key Vault, same thing with the blob storage in case if your application is connecting to the blob. Same thing with the MongoDB and Signal or the Kubernetes. So these are the different NuGet packages available for for the health check. So depending on what is required, what is needed, you will be adding the required NuGet packages and configuring the health check for those. So the basic implementation, the step one is as soon as you create the API, for example, select the web API and created the API. So these are the bare minimum steps to see to configure the health check. So in the configure services, you are going to add services.add health check, and in the configure method of the startup.cs, you can add the use health check /UI. So this is the custom URL you can build up. And then when you enter that URL on the browser, you will see whether the application is healthy or unhealthy. This is the step one, very basic. And then keep on adding depending on the need. For example, if you are planning to check the API SQL health check, so you are going to add this and add the additional piece of code. In the next line, you will say add SQL server and provide the SQL connection string. And then it will check the SQL connection string is healthy or not. Same thing, you need to keep adding stuff. So let's begin this. I also have this one is the Key Vault related. So okay, yeah, this is another article. The MSDN article is also useful to understand what the health check is and what are the different options available, NuGet packages available for configuring the API health check. And then I also found the actual source code location for the API health check and different endpoints supported, different NuGet packages, and how to configure them. So these are my references for connecting to the Azure Health Check. So let's begin with how to connect to the health check. So when we create the API, we already get the NuGet package as part of the Microsoft ASP.NET Core app. You will have the health check related NuGet package, which is called ASP.NET Core Diagnostics dot health checks. With that, it will allow adding the health check configuration here, services dot add health checks, and then we can also add the required health check here. So let me keep some code for the use endpoints. Under use endpoints, I'm going to use this. Give me 1 second. I think I can just add endpoints dot health check. So I'll come back to the rest of the code. So I just wanted to start with the basics. So I just added 2 lines of code to start with. One is add health check, and that is all part of the diagnostics.health check, so that I can see if I can launch the URL API/health and see if I'm able to check the health of the API. So this code is on top of my Key Vault code. So this is also connecting to the Key Vault. So that's why it's taking a little bit more time for the first time because of the Key Vault. So let me launch with API/health. Now I see health check API endpoint is working as expected. So that is the step 1. Not done anything much, just adding 2 lines of code in the startup.cs to make it work. Now I'm going to add more code, but I will not be adding more code in the startup.cs. As I mentioned, let's see the best practice to make sure that we are organizing the code better. As part of that, I'm going to use the service extension, and I will add health check and the code for health check related. So let me add one more endpoint API and method. Sorry, one more method here, and then call that method in the startup.cs. So I will add this here in the, instead of here, I will say configure health check. I need to pass the configuration. So I think I don't need this, or let me first fix the required, that is required. First fix the code here. So I added one more endpoint. I need using statements. I make sure that I'm adding the right one. AutoMapper and the Microsoft extension configuration. So as soon as I start adding, let me comment this. I'm going to come back to this. So step 1, I'm planning to add SQL Server health check. And then the next step, I'm going to add more. So let me also comment this piece of code. We'll come back to this. Now let's fix the add SQL Server. So I need the NuGet package to fix the add SQL Server. The NuGet package for that is right-click, manage NuGet packages. So I need this. now the SQL, this line is fine. Now reading from the database connection string here. Let's make sure that my database connection string is correct. So I'll be using the development, for example. So this is my connection string. So I should be getting that connection string and make sure that it should be happy with the connection string. So let's run and see if I can see the SQL server. Since I already have the the SQL database, so it should connect and say is healthy. So since again the key vault is taking time, so that's why I'm going to toggle off the key vault connection, and when I'm running locally, I should be using the bypass true so that it every time I will not be spending a lot of time. Is there anything blocking here? So key vault is failed, not sure what is the reason. Let's bypass for now. The demo is on the health check, so I will focus on the health check. So key vault bypass true. Now I'm going to check API healthy. So let me also add the UI related. So this is not showing the actual information which I'm looking for. So because we haven't expanded the startup.cs here. So I'm going to add the middleware. So let's remove this and uncomment this piece of code. So I am going to add so I need the another NuGet package called health checks UI client. So let's find and install, and that's going to return the required JSON payload on the endpoint. In this endpoint, I also need this one. I think the options, what is the, so I need one more NuGet package for fixing this. So let me add all the required NuGet packages. So I need UI. And I also need the UI client, which is already installed. I'm also going to use this UI in-memory storage for showing all the history. And let me also add the URI related one. So that I don't need to come back here for adding these. Now go to startup. Now this is happy. Let me add the health check UI configuration. So this is on the configuration method. Now I'm calling the health check configuration here for the Azure, the SQL connection string. Okay, now as part of this, I'm also adding the custom CSS file. So let me quickly add that, or I can, for now I can comment, or I can comment for now. In case if you want to customize your UI, you can also add your own custom file. I'll come back on that. Now, this is what I want to see here. So this is my SQL server. So now it is trying to connect to the SQL server, and it is able to connect to the SQL server. So let me show that by breaking the connection string, make sure that that's working as expected. So I will say database name is in break the database name here. The actual database name is the feedback, but I changed it to feedback1 to prove that the health of the health service is working as expected. So cannot open the database feedback1. So I see that this is the response we get in the health check when we are trying to connect to them. So it says it is unhealthy right now. So that's how we will be connecting to the, that's how we will be validating the database in healthy. Or next one, I'm going to add remote health check. The remote health check is especially useful. Let's say if you are calling the external services and you want to make sure that those external services are healthy every time the health check is running. So let me add a new file. And this is going to be custom health check file. I'm going to create a separate folder. We call it as health check. And all my custom classes are going to be here. Let me create a new class. So this is the purpose of this class is to validate external. So for example, I copy pasted the code which is already written to check the API. For example, if I'm trying to use this endpoint, which is going to give me the IP address of my computer. So this is the public API, for example. So I'm going to call this and check if this API is working as expected as part of this custom remote health check. So it has to inherit from the iHealth check, and there is a method to check the health, and then you can write whatever the piece of code you want to write validating. So I created a HTTP client factory instance and then passing the URL to test that, and if it is successful, status code is successful, then it will return the healthy, otherwise it will return the unhealthy situation. Now let me enable that, so it's already turned on. If it is unhealthy, it will call this. So let's see the status of this. So I need a semicolon here. API /. Now I wanted to see this error. It says that unable to resolve service type HTTP client, because we have not added the dependency injection for this new client factory class we added here. So that's why we are getting this error. So let's make sure that we fix that and correcting the dependency injection. So we need one line of code in the dependency injection to fix that, which is add HTTP client. Now let's run again. So now that dependency injection is resolved. Now let's check the remote health check. Now remote health check came as a healthy because it is responding. Now let's break that and see, make sure that is unhealthy when we break it. So I will change the URL do something else to break it so that it will give me the status code other than 200 and it will return the unhealthy status. So it says there is no such host name, so that's unhealthy right now. So in case if that API is not responding, we will be getting the unhealthy. So this may not be a good demo, but we can change the status and return the unhealthy so that it will return the unhealthy. Now next take a look at what else is in the so memory health check. So same as the memory remote health check. So this is going to be the custom class which we can create to check the health of the memory. So I already have that class. So let me create the memory health check class quickly. And I'm going to copy paste the code which I got it when I googled it for the memory health check. So make sure that this threshold is properly calculated. So if I go and enable the service health check here, now let's see memory health check of the API service. So this is going to be in my computer itself. Point here to see the state here. This is the memory health check. So this is the endpoint. This is the remote. This is a SQL, and this is the memory health check. Memory health check came as the healthy. Now let's see what else I can add. I will also wanted to check my own API endpoint part of the health check. I will have to create one new endpoint for checking this. I've already added the required NuGet package for URL group. So the NuGet package which is going to be useful for the URL group is this health check dot URI. So let's fix the current error. So I don't have this API endpoint created yet. So let me go and create the new API endpoint so that as part of the health check, this point will be called and check the heart health of the API itself. So I will name it as speed controller. I already have written the code. So this is my API endpoint, just one single endpoint called ping, and it will just return the status true. So when I run this code, make sure that I will be able to see this new API endpoint before calling as part of the check. If I see my new API endpoints, let's try to see. I can see in true. I think since I already added this URL, so when I go to API, I should be able to see that is healthy. If you want to break it, so you can give the wrong URL or return the wrong information, not 200, then it will start breaking. So finally, I would like to show the UI behavior. Just uncomment this. So this UI basically show the screen which is similar to what I have explained earlier. Like this, I want to show in my API, expose one API endpoint for the UI, and then I can see my health check. So for that, we need to add this piece of code, add health check UI, and then set event evaluation time in seconds. So every 10 seconds, this is going to trigger and validate the health of the API. And then this is maximum history, which is going to be maintained. Let me see if this is enough or so let me also add one custom CSS file to customize UI. So I already have that CSS file. So in the same folder, probably I can create a new item. I'm going to add a CSS file. You can call it as a custom. Then this is the CSS required. Just adding it under health check. I am having the CSS file. Make sure that CSS file is resource copy always. So let's run that. And this is my UI endpoint URL. So as I mentioned, API health is in returning the JSON format, but I would like to see the same in the UI format. And this is how the look and feel, and you see the logo coming and the default styles changed. And this is how the health check API should look like. Your SQL server is healthy. You can add the tags in the code. So those tags are part of your here. You can add tags which you want to display here. So this is the remote health check. This is the whole service and one of the endpoint itself. And also, sorry, this is the memory health check, and this is the own endpoint. So this is how you can keep adding. If you want to add the keyword service, storage account, the Redis cache. So there are so many options for adding more features as part of the. Let me quickly show that website. This website will help to understand what are the different endpoints we can corresponding NuGet packages used to validate the health of the endpoint connections. So I think that's all I have for the keyword. So just look a quick summary what we discussed as part of the keyword. So we are able to add the health check for the SQL, add the health check for the memory check, remote memory, and then also add the URL and also added the URI of the health check. And this is the code. So we use the custom CSS, so you can customize the UI and look and feel of the health check website. This is part of the NuGet package which we are getting. Client health check UI client. So these are all related to that UI. I haven't explored about the storing. We need to add the local storage to save the health check so that every 15 minutes it runs and 15 seconds or 10 seconds it runs and store that and say, store the history of those health checks also. Then I added another new controller to ping every time the health check runs. This is for external, one of the example I've explored to show how we can use the health check for connecting to the external. And in the dependency injection, we need this for part of that external connectivity. So this is something contained service extension, we added health check method. And in the startup, we are called those required health check. So that's all for now. I'm going to continue the journey in the same feedback service, adding database connectivity, adding the CRUD operations, get, put, post, delete, probably in the next session. Thank you very much.